This program is brought to you by the Media Liberty Alliance Foundation in cooperation with OBBM Network TV, bringing citizen-led, creative local media to the forefront of local communities to foster a greater understanding of constitutional liberty and appreciation of what makes us truly free, starting with you and me.
The Zach Ratliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial in Texarkana, Texas, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That way you're updated each time fresh content comes out. And thank you for being part of the Zach Ratliff Show.
Hello and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. I'm Zach. This is Texarkana, Texas Mayor Bob Bruggeman. Hey, Bob, how are you?
Zach, doing fine. Good to see you.
Good to see you in this platform, man. You were a frequent guest on the radio show.
I know, this is a new environment.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
Well, and we had you scheduled one day, and I think I was sick or something.
Yes, you were.
and,
Yes.
And I
Postponed at the last minute.
I
Yeah.
apologize for that.
That's okay. That's okay.
Anyway, glad to have somebody here from Texarkana. Glad to know you. We've known each other for years now.
Right.
I just kind of wanted to get an update on what's going on. I've seen a lot of changes. I feel like there are a lot of changes. Holiday season in Texarkana is always fun. So anyway, what kind of just fill us in, and we'll see where the conversation goes.
Well, since it's December,
Yeah.
this is the holiday season for sure. So we have quite a few activities that'll be taking place for the remainder of the month. The annual Nutcracker Ballet, of course, is taking place this weekend. I have a granddaughter who's in the performance, and so looking forward to going to that Sunday afternoon. I think they have performances on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
And we have the Texarkana Symphony. We're very fortunate for a city of our size to have a symphony orchestra.
Man, they're always good. A couple years ago, they did the symphony with the Home Alone movie,
Right.
And I took my daughter to that, and it was amazing.
Yeah, they do an incredible job, and so they're going to be in performance at the Pro. It's going to be entitled Christmas at the Pro, and that'll be on December the 11th.
Okay.
At 2 p.m. And then the Pro Theater will present Christmas on Main. That's an annual event that's held on December the 20th this year. And it's on a Saturday. A lot of events that'll be taking place during the day. The ice skating rink will be out front on Main Street.
How do they do that?
It's a portable operation that they bring in, and it's very interesting. I'm not sure the logistics behind it, but
Right.
they have a rink that they set up, and boys and girls can go, adults as well, to have fun with that. That skating rink will be open from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m.
And the reason I ask for those listening that aren't from here, which, I think 40-something% are from here, and then everybody else said, it's not cold enough for ice skating rinks here, especially in December.
Right.
Maybe if you did it mid-February, we might can make it happen. But
Well, the last couple of days we've had a pretty good dose of
oh
it.
man, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't like cold weather. But anyway, the ice skating rink will be available to the public from 10 a.m. to 7. And then during the day, there will be movies featured. At 10 a.m., Mickey's Once Upon a Time Christmas. At 2 p.m., Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Classic.
And then at 7 p.m., the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation will be shown.
yeah.
That's an old classic as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of activities taking place at the Pro Theater during the month of December.
Man, that's awesome. Like you said about the symphony, people don't understand how much there is going on in our community and with what we do. And it's always, you don't have to go do it, but don't say there's nothing to do, because there's always something happening here. And it's pretty easy. A lot of it's free. Just show up. Now, at the Pro, obviously, you're buying tickets and all these things, but you can just go. I mean, you don't. Nobody has to invite you.
That's right. That's right. Various entertainment venues, sporting events, that sort of thing. And I do want to mention also, due to the inclement weather this week, the annual Main Street Christmas Parade that was going to be held Monday of this week has been moved to Monday, December the 15th.
Okay, I was about to ask about that.
So that's been rescheduled for the 15th at 7 p.m.
Was it just, because there's a chance of snow today, I was seeing, but was it just with the precipitation and everything?
The cold weather, precipitation, which it was pretty bad Monday evening.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad the decision was made by Ina McDowell and the Main Street Board to postpone it. So we're looking forward to having that. It's kind of a Texarkana historical theme this year, and so the floats will be based on that. And so Mayor Brown and I will be leading the parade with that, and so we always look forward to doing that because we were talking about different types of entertainment venues that are free of charge. And, you and I and others, I think, sometimes take it for granted if we want to go to the movies or where we just go. And there are families in our community who just don't have the financial means of being able to do that. And I'm certainly not. I mean, it's just fact.
No, you're not being disparaging at all.
No, absolutely not. And so to ride through that parade route, the Christmas parade and other parades throughout the year, and to see the smiles on those little boys and girls' faces, it just means so much to me. So actually, it's one of my favorite things to do in my role as mayor is to be a part of the parade scene during Christmas and at other times during the year. It's just very gratifying.
Well, that's awesome. And for those questioning, he said Mayor Brown, but he said he's the mayor. We're a twin city, so we have a Texarkana, Texas, and a Texarkana, Arkansas, and two different city governments, two different mayors, but we all try to work together for the better. I don't want to say betterment, but to make sure our community does what it needs to do. I think
that's exactly right. We tout ourselves as Texarkana, USA.
Yeah,
and so Mayor Brown and I have a very good working relationship. Our city managers and city staffs work closely together, and I feel like that we can get so much more accomplished when we're all on the same page, so to speak, or we're working together in a cooperative spirit.
Right.
And so I've really worked hard for that. And Mayor Brown and I, like I said, if we have a question about something or we need more information, we just freely pick up the phone and call each other. We have open communication, and it's not always been that way. Back, years ago, it was pretty challenging. The relationship between the two cities was fractured, but we have really done a lot of good work in building that relationship and working in accomplishing common goals for our community.
Well, you would think with the development of, or maybe the rehab of our downtown area, which is significant.
Sure.
You have to work together. I mean, or one side looks horrible than the other. But I mean, our downtown, there's a lot happening.
A lot of happening downtown, especially with various types of entertainment venues. We have, you drive down Broad Street on a Friday night or Saturday night. I mean, there are cars everywhere. The streets lined with cars with various types of venues. Our restaurant venues. Downtown, as I mentioned, entertainment venues, and we have a lot of people who live downtown in loft apartments and that sort of thing, and they enjoy doing that. And so, as far as a combination of working and living and having entertainment venues in the downtown area, I think it's very, very good.
Well, my daughter did, it was during the summer, did the summer camp at Silver Moon Children's Theater.
Oh yes,
and did the play. And there's just so much going on down there. Now look, if you're passing through, and you might not have time to get down there and do all the things, but what is it? Are we the second most photographed post office in what is that?
Yeah, second most photographed federal courthouse building in the United States. Number one, of course, is the Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C. But yes, so that when someone is having their photo taken at our photographer's island on the south side of the federal courthouse building, of course, the courthouse building is in the background.
Right.
And so that's where that accolade comes in as far as the second most photographed federal courthouse.
Well, and even you guys have done a good job about that's all been redone and it's been made. And I don't drive by there every day, but it seems like there's not a week that I drive by there that there's not somebody out there taking a picture.
There's a lot of activity with doing that. Of course, we have our farmers market located down there on the weekends during the year. And if I'm driving in the downtown area and I see a couple or a family or a group on a tour bus and they're getting their photo taken, I'm always curious if where they're from.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not in a real big hurry, I will stop and introduce myself and welcome them to the Twin Cities. And I'm always curious to find out where they're from. A couple of common places that for some reason are very common. We have quite a few people from the Houston area who come up here, and as far as out of state, from the state of Tennessee. I've met several people from the state of Tennessee who've been here, and they found out about it and decided to travel through here and do that. It's something that's unique and standing in two states at the same time.
Right.
So,
when there was some event down there, I don't know when, within the last few months. Maybe it was one of the Turning Point events or something that was down there in front of the courthouse. And anyway, as it was being cleaned up, I was sitting around talking. You know how it is. We know everybody in town. And sitting around talking, and this group of people on these motorcycles came up. But they, and then just started, well, they weren't from here. They were European.
Really?
And then I got to talking to them, and one of them spoke better English than the rest of them, and they were doing a motorcycle tour across the country and had knew to come take a picture there.
Wow.
And I don't remember where in Europe. It was Western Europe. But anyway, they'd come to the country and going to do a motorcycle tour across the country. And this was one of the places that they stopped to take a picture. And I was like, how awesome is that? Now, maybe they heard about it on the way or,
right.
I don't know.
Well, and that's a very good point, because in addition to what I just mentioned about those that I've visited with, I have met several people from foreign countries who are here for various reasons, whether it's educational reasons or business or something like that,
right,
who are here. So it's pretty neat.
Okay. Well, what else do we have going on?
Well, we have our final meeting, council meeting for the month of December will be coming up Monday, December the 8th. Our council now meets once a month.
Okay.
We were meeting twice a month, and so we've gone to a one meeting format per month. And so
is that just more efficient?
It is, and in the agenda really hasn't gotten overloaded. If you're missing a council meeting, sometimes those agenda items can tend to stack up. But we're able to conduct business in a timely manner as far as looking at rezonings and things like that across the city. So December the 8th will be our final meeting for this year. We were very excited last month, November, our City Hall building at 3rd and Texas turned 100 years old.
Okay.
And so at our council meeting in November, we had a reception before the council meeting as well as after the council meeting. We had a good turnout from the community to learn about the history of our City Hall building, which the City Hall building there at 3rd and Texas, that's the second City Hall building. That's not the original building that was there. And so Matt Solomon does a great job. He's kind of our local city historian with the city of Texarkana, Texas, and he does a great job of researching and that sort of thing, and he put a lot of good materials together in reference to the City Hall building itself. And so we just had a great event, and so the community came out and really supported us with that.
Well, that's awesome. And, I had I know a couple years ago had a client that we had to get some stuff rezoned and went through the process and went through the planning and zoning and then came to you guys, and there were some people that didn't want it to go and there's people that did want it to go. And to me, it went the way city government should go. You guys heard from constituents. All the council members took comments, and over the period of a month, maybe it was 2, and got all the facts, and then the meeting happened, and it was the way that city government should work. But I think for a lot of people, if you never go to a meeting, and if you never, I know you and then a few of the council members, and it's not uncommon for me to just talk about what's happening in the city anyway. But if you don't know that, or if I understand we've all got to take little Johnny to soccer and little Susie to dance, and we've got to do these things, grandkids just born or whatever, it's easy to not to just take for granted what's happening down there is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Right, and we have a process that we go through. For example, you mentioned a rezoning. So first of all, that goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they review it, and then they vote on it.
Right.
And then it comes to the council. When it comes to the council, at the first meeting, there's a first briefing on that item. So the city staff briefs the council on that particular item, and there's an opportunity for the council members and myself to ask questions if we have a question about the matter with the city staff. And then sometimes there may be a question that can't be answered, excuse me, at that time. They'll have to do some research. Then at the following council meeting, there's a public hearing held.
Right.
And as you mentioned, that's an opportunity for someone, whether they support the item or they're not in support of the item, they can stand before the council and have their word listened to as far as their position on that particular matter, and then the council will, take a vote on that.
Right.
And so, but it's a very good process that we go through.
Yeah.
We don't rush things through. There's a time schedule for those types of things.
Well, and even on the one that I'm talking about, there were some drainage issues, there were some water issues, and then so the city works people got with it and said, okay, here's what we have to happen, here's what we're going to need, here's the easements we're going to need. If this is going to happen, then all of these concessions and things have to be met in order for it to do its. And in the end, it happened and it worked. And actually, I drove by there the other day. They've started construction on something. My deal was done with the guys, so I don't know what they're doing, but. And so I'm like, okay, this is what growth looks like. Sometimes it takes a little time.
Right. Well, that's true. And so, and another thing that we're very pro business with the city of Texarkana, Texas. So I hear on several occasions companies or businesses who are coming here, and sometimes that might involve construction of a new building. And when I go to perhaps say it's a ribbon cutting after, to announce the building or promote the building with the community with a grand opening, I hear from the representatives from those companies or corporations, they will state how great of a great work that was done as far as a relationship between their company and the city, referring to permitting and that sort of thing. And so we want to, we certainly have rules and regulations that we have to abide by when it comes to the National Electric Code and other things like that. But we also want to be very, very open for business and new business in our community.
Well, one thing I was looking at, because I had to look up what it was called, the ETJ, the extra
territorial district.
Yeah, jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I ran into, and I didn't realize, was that 2 miles outside the city or something like that?
Yeah, it's 1.5 or 2 miles.
Okay.
Yes.
And so just on some stuff that I was looking at planning, that I guess that's to make sure that if the city expands, then the correct infrastructure is there. Is that the way that works?
Yes, that's the thrust of it. In that those adjacent areas within 1.5 to 2 miles of the existing city limits, there could be at some point in time an annexation of additional property and that sort of thing. And so we want to make sure that anything that may be going in that particular area is complementary to the area that's existing there.
Right. Now I know, and everybody that listens to this knows that we don't normally prep answers and everything, but there was at one time we were considering building new water infrastructure in order to continue the growth. Are we still looking at doing that, or?
That's correct. There's an organization called Riverbend, and so they were going to have the task of building a new raw water treatment plant.
Okay.
So currently we have 2 sources of water for the residents of Texarkana, Texas and Texarkana, Arkansas and the surrounding areas. The lake sources are Lake Wright-Patman in Texas and Lake Millwood in Arkansas.
Right.
So there are 2 treatment plants. There's a treatment plant there on the outskirts of Ashdown for water coming from Millwood.
Okay.
That water is treated, and if everybody's driven across the Red River Bridge on the side going towards Texarkana or southbound, you'll see a large 36 diameter inch pipe that runs alongside the roadway.
That's what we're drinking.
That's treated water from Millwood going to the water tower at Spring Lake Park on the interstate, where that water is commingled with treated water from Lake Wright-Patman. And so the water treatment plant for Millwood is actually located on New Boston Road. It's across from the Whataburger.
Oh, is that the Millwood one?
That's from Lake Wright-Patman.
Oh, that's Wright-Patman. Okay.
So Lake Wright-Patman water goes to that treatment plant.
Okay.
It's treated and then put into the local water system. And so, of course, that facility on New Boston Road has been around, I believe, since the 1950s.
Right.
And so it's somewhat dated. There's new water technology, and we really need a new water intake from that point. So the water intake for the New Boston Road plant, where the water, what we call it the straw that brings the water out, is an area that's really has silted in, and so the depth is somewhat less than what it used to be. So we're looking at a new intake at a deeper part of the lake. And so the plan is to have a new water treatment plant built on the Tex Americas Center property. Okay. And that's kind of a centralized location. And
those guys are doing good things out there, too.
Right. And so there's work being done to prepare for the construction of a new water treatment plant. So along with that, of course, we have to pay for it.
Right. Yeah. Funny how that works.
Right. So several years ago, we brought in a consulting group, or TWU brought in a consulting group to look at our current water rate structure and looking at comparing to other water districts across the state. And then, in other words, how much revenue are we bringing in that is part of that put aside for capital projects in the future?
$1.99 of mine's convenience fee every time.
That's right. So we found out that our water rates were significantly lower than other parts of the state, and that was really having a negative effect on our capital improvement fund. And so as the city continues to grow into development, we have to have the funds available to put in that water and sewer infrastructure. Right. And so we were getting behind the curve on that. And so we've had to, increase water rates. And then on the bill is what's called a river bend fee. And so that's an additional fee based on the number of gallons used. It's based on per 1,000 gallons of use. And so that's an additional fee that's on the water bill based on usage, along with, like, for example, at my home, I have a regular water meter, and then I have a separate irrigation meter for my sprinkler system. Yeah. And so, the river bend fee applies to both, but those are funds that are being collected to go towards the construction of water treatment plants, which are very, very expensive to construct.
Right. Which, in my mind, and I don't know anything about it other than talking to you, but probably something we should have been doing 25 years ago. And like I said, we just got behind the curve, so now we're trying to catch up so that we can continue to grow.
Right, and we're preparing for the future. Right. And so by having a new water treatment plant, which will be more efficient than currently what we have, and it will be able to serve our community and surrounding areas in years to come. So what we're doing, this plant that's being constructed is preparing for the current time as well as preparing for.
Is it under construction already, or still in planning?
No.
It's still in planning phase.
Right, it's still in the and there have been bonds that have been pledged towards the construction of that. But so Riverbend has a board of directors, and they meet monthly. The executive director is Kyle Dooley, who's a former city employee with the city of Texarkana, Texas. He was a city engineer. And so he is the executive director. He has a very, very vast knowledge in water and water infrastructure and water distribution. And so he's a great person to have on board to lead the charge on the construction of this new water treatment plant.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Okay. Well, I know we weren't really planning on talking about that, but I just, I'm selling real estate. I start wondering, because we're getting, or the rumors have it that there's a data center coming into Hooks, and there's all of these things that, golly, what's the organization doing out there? Ready's doing, and so we're poised for growth, and I just to grow, you have to have water.
Well, that's true, and there are some, companies or corporations that, depending on what they do, are very, very large users of either water or electricity.
Right.
And so we have to make sure that we talked about water, but also on the electrical side, that we have an ample power supply to serve future businesses.
I've got a question about that. If it's out of your wheelhouse, please let me know.
Okay.
But are we pulling out of Fulton our power?
Well, that's there's a coal-fired plant located in Fulton. That's a SWEPCO, AEP SWEPCO plant. It's the John Turk plant, and so the Turk Power Plant. Mr. Turk, who's no longer living, was a former president of AEP SWEPCO.
Okay.
Actually, I worked there 18 years, and so many of the years when I worked there, Mr. Turk was the president of the company. And so the power plant at Fulton was named in his honor. And so that is a coal-fired plant, and that electricity is put into the distribution system, the transmission system within SWEPCO.
Okay, because I didn't figure it was me because I'm buoy cast, so I figured that was coming from somewhere else. But I didn't know if we actually got any benefit of that directly to here, but we do then. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. I had a guy on, was it yesterday or the day before, who was a nuclear expert and then worked for NASA, and he's talking about, and we don't have to go into this, but it was interesting how they're making small reactors now where you'll start at some point they'll be cost efficient. I mean, they probably aren't now, but where they can sit them down and you can power enough for 100,000 people, and then you'll be able to. Well, it's just amazing where all this is going.
Yeah. Technology is just unbelievable right now with what all's going on, and various things, even down to the use of our cell phones. The things that we can do with a cell phone.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, okay, so we've got that growth going, and you always like to hear this as a business person. I always like to hear that we're pro business, and because I like to. Growth is good for all of us. Mm-hmm. I know that some people would rather stick their head in the sand and not grow, but if you're not growing, you're going backwards.
That's right.
In my mind.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. I think growth is something that's very important, and it's very significant, and we are really working on some good things to happen here in the future with our Ready Group, with Rob Sitterly, Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Robin Hickerson is very involved with keeping up and helping with what's going on in the community, whether it's a local business or whether it's a company that's wanting to relocate here. So our various entities, as far as the cities and the counties, working with our state organizations in both Texas and Arkansas, the Chamber of Commerce, with Ready, with our elected officials in the region, we really, I would say everybody's on the same page, and that is so critically important.
Well, and that's what, especially as we go into primary season and all that. I'm not going to pull you into a political discussion, but this is things people have to consider as we look at all this, because if you want growth, know who you're voting for.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I mean, what they stand for. What's their position on a certain matter or issue, especially if it's an issue that's important to the voter.
Right. Well, and one thing, you've heard me say this about you, and then especially on the radio, I've said it is. It's nice to have a mayor that is responsive to, hey, I can shoot you a text, hey, what's going on with this? And I understand you have a job, and but when you have a chance, I'll get an answer. Oh, I'll find out, or this is what's happening. And it's nice to have a city mayor that, here's what's happening. Let me tell you about it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it just makes sense. Okay,
well, I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate you. One thing that I've noticed, and we talked about it before. I don't know, it's been a while. We had a panhandler problem, but we were worried about the First Amendment violations and if they were there from the state of Texas. And anyway, you guys have seemed to have handled this. I mean, I'm not seeing near the amount of panhandlers, if any, that I was.
Well, what we were looking at is motor vehicle and pedestrian safety in general. So not really any specifics, but it's so important that our motoring public, as well as those who may be, walking or riding a bicycle or on a motorcycle or something like that that safety is the utmost of importance.
Right.
And so we do have a new ordinance that was enacted recently, and so we just feel like it's very important that, like I said, the motoring public as well as those who may not be in a motorized vehicle are in a safe environment, in a safe area.
I can appreciate that because it was getting kind of aggressive out there with people walking into roadways and really getting in the way of traffic. So I understand from the safety point but golly, it's just a better look for it to, when you come in, everything's flowing. It's just a better look. I can appreciate the work that's had to be done around the safety issue of it.
Right. Okay. Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah. And then, we have Randy Sam's downtown. We have homeless shelters. And then, what's the name of the church on the Arkansas side that feeds a lot? Catholic church there by.
Well, there's St. Edward's.
St. Edward's is what I'm thinking of.
That's the Catholic church downtown. Yes.
And then we have multiple groups of that. I know Williams does some. Anyway, we have a large outreach, but how's our homeless situation looking as we're going into winter? What are we doing to like you said earlier, not everybody has the same means, but I feel like around here we do a good job of trying to support these people.
Right. Well, our as you mentioned, it's the winter time of the year, so the census or the population at our homeless shelters tends to increase this time of the year. People trying to not be exposed to the elements, especially if it's very cold outside. So our numbers at our local homeless shelters have gone up.
Okay.
And our homeless shelters are always in need of certain items, whether it's blankets or clothing or food items. And so I would encourage someone, if they're interested in wanting to find out more as far as how they can help, is to contact one of our local homeless organizations in town, Randy Sam's. We have the Friendship Center and others. And so they can contact them and say, how can I help? What do you need? Do you need a monetary donation? Do you need blankets? Do you need clothing? Do you need non-perishable food items? And just, find out or do you need toiletry items, for your guests, toothpaste, toothbrushes, things like that. And I think that's a great way to give back, especially here at the Christmas season.
Right, absolutely. And then I saw that we had the Shop with the Cop. What was it? Was that earlier this week or last week?
Yes,
this week?
Tuesday.
Okay. It's just, I'm a fan of our city. I've moved away 6 times. I've always come back. I love where I'm from. I love our city. And so I want to do everything I can to promote it and to let people know how awesome it is. So I just love the fact that, like any city, you've got a little bit of crime, but just the leadership and just what we're trying to do, it's what it should be about. And so that's why this is also why I always enjoy having you on, is because as mayor, you're a fan of our city too.
Well, I'm born and raised here, so this is home for sure. But when I visit with people or families who maybe have just recently moved here to Texarkana, or maybe they're here visiting family or something like that, or they're here on a work assignment or something like that, I hear often about the warm hospitality of our community, and that our community is such a giving community as far as giving back. We have numerous nonprofit organizations in our community, and those organizations are always in need of funding and resources and volunteers and things like that. And our community just does a great job in sponsoring and assisting these nonprofit agencies in our town, whether it's relating to education or the arts or anything, the museum system. It's just amazing of the outpouring of support, and oftentimes it's anonymous. Someone doesn't want a lot of fanfare. They want to make a contribution or feel like that they're making a difference, and they don't want recognition for that. And I certainly respect that as well.
Well, you know as well as I do, there are business leaders here in town that do not want you to say their name. And then I've been to a few events where I'm sitting at the table with the people whose family name might not be their name is on the sign of a thing, and you would never know unless because they're not up waving the flag. It's truly about that event, and they would just have it. They don't want you to know that that's their family unless you just happen to know them. They're not going to tell you because it's not about them. It is about the giving and about what they're doing, and maybe that's what makes this place awesome to me is. People aren't doing it to pat themselves on the back. They're doing it for our area. Right.
I certainly agree. They're, they're helping, even if it's in education, especially right now in higher education. We've had recently at A&M Texarkana, we've had the naming of the Truman and Anita Arnold Student, University Center building. They're also. Their name is on the College of Business at A&M Texarkana. And so recently, within the last week or so, Don and Patsy Morris, the Morris family in our town that traces back to Offenhauser Insurance. Right. And they've done so much unbelievable work in our community as a family. Well, they named the walking trail at A&M Texarkana. There's a signage out there, and there was a reception in recognition for that. And there was a great turnout, for that. So we have citizens in the community, and Judy Morgan, her involvement with A&M, with the soccer field, and it just goes on and on. Buddy McCullough, the Ledwell family, especially at Texarkana College, in the building trades area, and so just a lot of great people in our community wanting to help the current generation and also help future generations.
That's awesome to see. Well, have we missed anything? I don't know if we have.
We've covered a lot.
That's the fun part about this as opposed to radio is there's no commercial break, so you can kind of hit a flow.
That's right.
And because you and I would just be getting going, and then we'd have to hit a commercial.
And then try to remember what we were talking about.
That's exactly.
Before the commercial break.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, do you have anything else that I may have missed? I think I've covered everything. I had pickleball courts written here for Southwest Center. We're expanding that.
Right. We've had some great support work. We talked about families and we've talked about organizations. Also, I certainly want to mention our civic clubs. In the community. So the local Rotary clubs have done a tremendous job in raising funds, I think about $135,000 to be used for upgrades and improvements with our pickleball courts, which are located at the Southwest Center on West 7th Street, which is our community activity center.
My dad and I used to go there and play basketball when I was little.
Yeah, and we still have the gym there, which is also converted into pickleball courts. And so they've kind of established a pickleball league. And so the Rotary clubs have just done a tremendous job in helping with the city. And then a while back, if you recall, the Rotary clubs did fundraising, and they're responsible for the splash pad.
That's right.
And that's very, very heavily used. Another example of those families who may not have the financial means to go to a swimming pool or go to a water park, out of town or locally with our local water park. And so it gives them a place to go and enjoy.
And the city did that, and then the Rotary clubs did that, just so that they did have somewhere to go.
Right. I think on that project with the splash pad, I think that was around $400,000 several years ago. And of course, the Rotary clubs have the flag project where they put the flags out for holidays.
And there'll be sometimes they're putting flags out. I'll have to go look in my phone to see what holiday's about to happen. I'm like, we've got something coming. There's flags going up.
Well, I agree with that. They had them out one time, and I'm thinking, why are they out? And then I got to looking, and I thought, oh, it's Flag Day coming up. That'd be appropriate. So.
That's exactly the one I'm like, I don't know what holidays are, but then it was Flag Day.
Yeah, well, I think that's appropriate to do that on Flag Day. So.
That's right. Because I was like, I generally have the calendar, and I was like, what day is it? But it was Flag Day.
That's right. Yeah, we're a little ways from Memorial Day, and what? Oh, okay, Flag Day.
Yeah. So. But once again, these organizations do a good job. You guys at the city do a good job, and then of course, we have Nash and Wake Village and Hooks. I was talking to Mark over there the other day, and it's our community as a whole. I'm proud of where I'm from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, a lot of great things taking place in Texarkana. You mentioned Nash. I mean, they've got some great things going on out in Nash. And so it's just, it's really complementing our area.
Yeah, I think so. Well, if you're done, I'm done, and we'll let everybody get out of
Well,
here.
Zach, I just want to finish up by wishing everyone a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And, prosperous upcoming New Year. It's hard to believe that 2026
Here we
is
are
on the
again.
doorstep, and so we've been very blessed this year in our community, and we look forward for more great things to come.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, Mayor Bruggeman. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope God blesses each and every one of you today, and we'll be back and do it all again tomorrow.